Hi, and welcome to another edition of the Digital Arts Show. I'm Jim Sirianni, your host. Thank you so much for joining us today. This show is part of the Digital Arts Festival that is produced by Center Stage Theater of Santa Barbara, California. The Digital Arts Festival shows stream nightly at 7 p.m., and you can learn more on the Center Stage website, centerstagetheater.org, and click on the blog tab. And the purpose of the Digital Arts Festival is to create an outlet for artists of all kinds to share their work. Because of the shutdown and quarantine, many artists and performers suddenly found themselves with no way to show their work or to perform. And unfortunately, in some cases, the work these artists or performers have created may never be seen by the public. That's unfortunate. But in an effort to find some sort of workaround, if you will, the Digital Arts Festival was created by Center Stage to help artists connect with their audiences in a virtual setting. So we will have dance, theater, music, visual arts, poetry, storytelling, and much more. And again, you can learn more about it on the Center Stage website, centerstagetheater.org, and click on the blog tab. Today's guest is Ellie Iverson. Ellie Iverson is an event producer. She is a Santa Barbara native. She grew up in this area, and she has lived all over the world. She has international style, having explored and lived in various places such as New York City, DC, San Francisco, San Diego, Athens, Greece, and Lima, Peru, just to name a few. Through her event production company, Edgy Experiences, Ellie has been working tirelessly to create new styles of events, which have ranged from body-positive disco parties to wig-themed bar crawls hosted by drag queens and much more. And I can't wait to find out what those are all about and what some of her other events are about. Welcome to the show, Ellie Iverson. It's so good to have you on the show today.
Thank you, Jim. I'm so happy to be here.
So can you tell us a little bit about your background, your artistic path? How did you get to where you are today here in Santa Barbara?
Yeah, absolutely. So this is my hometown, and I'm very proud to call it my hometown. But I had to travel a little bit to realize how perfect it was. So I started in San Diego, and then I did quite a bit of international travel, working in DC, New York, like I mentioned, traveling through Europe, Southeast Asia, and most of Latin America. So I went through all of that process, and I ended up doing some tech startup work in San Francisco and feeling like it maybe was not the city for me. And it just happened to coincide with an opening for an event coordinator position at Moxie, the Wolf Museum of Exploration and Innovation. So I came in right as they were launching that museum to help with the events in that museum space. And I had so much fun doing it for about 2 years. And I just wanted to keep doing more and more events and crazy parties. And so I decided at the end of 2018 to launch my own event production company, really focusing on the idea of immersive events in unique locations.
Nice, very cool. And before I forget, I just want to give out your information as much as we can so folks can find you. Ellie's website is Edgy Experiences, and it's actually EJIexperiences.com. Let's pronounce Edgy Experiences. I like how you spell it. That's cool. Edgy Experiences, EJIexperiences.com is the website. Facebook, of course, is Edgy Experiences, EJI Experiences. And Instagram, same thing there, EJI Experiences as well on Instagram. So Ellie, you have a company, as I just mentioned, Edgy Experiences. Tell us about the company and what does it do exactly?
Yeah, so the idea was that I love throwing events and I love the back end coordination that goes into that. And so I really saw that, we have a huge art and music community here in Santa Barbara, and there are a lot of events that happen in Santa Barbara. And I think there are some phenomenal planners who really take that traditional classic style and they just nail it. But what I was looking at is kind of the more out of the box thinking. So how can we get more of these creatives into spaces where we can interact with them more, where it's kind of weirder locations that people wouldn't expect events to happen in, and then just really focusing on the community. And so that's what I've been doing for this past year is just focusing on that and seeing what I can do within the art and music space.
Nice. And how long have you had the company now?
So it's just about over a year old, and it's definitely seen some ups and downs and twists and turns within that time frame.
I bet. And speaking of twists and turns, one thing I wanted to ask you first of all is, uh, tell us about the event planning back in the pre-COVID days before the shutdown. How would you go about planning and creating an event?
Absolutely. So uh, there's a lot of ways of doing it. I personally kind of focus on two channels. So the first channel is working with creatives to partner together to try out a new idea that may not have been done before or doesn't, we don't know how it's going to work out, but we want to try something new. So that's very, very community focused. And the idea is we're testing out something new, we're seeing if it works or not. We all kind of have a similar buy-in to the project. So it's usually a ticketed event or something where we're trying to pull in an audience together. So that's the first way of doing it. And that's really where you see things like the Body Positive Disco Party, where I had a ton of different partners come in for the Museum of Contemporary Art, and we all worked on that project together. The second way I do it is work directly with clients. So people who either have established events that they're looking to spice up a bit, or they have a new idea that they want to kind of push forward. I work with them directly to say, I can help you with the back end. I can source the right people. And I know, especially from these testing grounds, what works and what doesn't work, and then figure out how to make the best possible event for them that way.
Gotcha. And again, if you, as you're watching today, my guest is Ellie Iverson, and she is an event producer. And you can learn more about Ellie and her work on her company's website, edgyexperiences.com. That's EJI experiences.com, and you can learn all about what she does there. So, Ellie, let me ask you then, how, kind of a two-part question, how have things changed now, and what kind of events are you working on today?
Absolutely. What hasn't changed, I think, is the more appropriate question. It is
Really?
a crazy world for creatives to be in, for everybody to be in, but especially creatives and especially anybody focused on events, because as we know, the physical events just aren't happening right now, and we don't know when they will start again. So it is a scary time, and I had many moments of proper freakouts regarding that. But I think what's amazing about where we are right now, and especially this community that we're in, is that there are opportunities to pivot, and there are people who are willing to support and to get excited about new projects. So it definitely was something that I really kicked off right away, where I was like, okay, I do immersive events in unique locations. That doesn't necessarily mean that it needs to be in a physical location. We can jump to the virtual stage as we need to. It's just getting the right people involved and seeing what we can do. So the main three things that I've been doing during COVID-19 isolation shutdown is hosting a Wake and Shake morning dance party with Yoga Dance Magic, which is a Bluetooth headphone yoga experience group in town. So we've been doing dance parties every Saturday morning. And then with my partner, DJ Frew, we've been hosting Stir Crazy Cocktail Hours every Sunday afternoon. So this is an Instagram live cocktail hour where I host a workshop and DJ Frew plays music live during that time. And then the third and final thing, and I think what's most interesting to talk about here with Center Stage, is we've been hosting a performance piece called Pangea's Playhouse, which invites up to 8 artists in at a time. And it's a ticketed event. So it's actually something where people buy tickets to join a Zoom event. And 70% of each of the ticket prices goes directly to the artists. So it's a way for friends and families and fans to support artists during this crazy time when these physical events just aren't happening.
Right, right. And again, my guest is Ellie Iverson, and she is an event producer and planner here in Santa Barbara. And you can find her on Facebook and Instagram at EJI Experiences. It's pronounced Edgy Experiences, but spelled EJI Experiences on both Facebook and Instagram. So you kind of touched on it there in the last question, Ellie, but what is the biggest difference about planning an event for live stream or digital delivery? What's been the biggest challenge as well?
Ooh, there's been a lot of challenges. I think just being on these platforms that aren't set up and they aren't established for performance pieces. I mean, we're having this interview over an app that was made for business meetings, you know, and we're
Right.
creating these very unique artistic spaces in these worlds that weren't built for it. So it's how do you create better sound quality? How do you create better visual quality? How do you have music playing when somebody's teaching a yoga class? And how do you have somebody dancing while music is playing? It's all of those things that have been really challenging, but also pretty rewarding in saying the system wasn't built for this, but we're finding ways to make it work.
Nice. Very cool. Yeah, it must be also a challenge too when you're dealing with um, several people in an event, like you're mentioning the yoga class, and you have people in little boxes, and that must be kind of tricky to navigate. I would guess.
It's taken a lot of trial and error to get to a good space, but it's been so fun. This past Saturday, we had a May the 4th themed dance party. By the way,
Nice.
May the 4th be with you. Glad we're
Yes,
doing
may
this
the fourth be with
on
you
May
too.
the 4th.
Today's May 4th.
And it was so fun because we were actually able to spotlight a lot of the little video screens to show a stormtrooper dancing with his dog and Jedi Knights battling in their living room. And so things like that were so much fun and definitely kind of took this whole Zoom experience to another level.
Nice. Very cool. And what do you think the long-term impact of the COVID crisis will be on artistic events such as yours?
The long term, I mean, my hope is that once we come back to a reality that includes physical events, we will appreciate them more and we will recognize the importance of creativity and arts and music in our communities. But also, I think that we are working with a digital age, and it's important for us to know how to work with these spaces and to offer it up. I think it also provides quite a bit more accessibility in that if we do incorporate this virtual aspect into these physical events, it may be more accessible to folks that can't leave their home or can't attend events for any reason.
Nice, nice. Well, Ellie, it's been a pleasure chatting with you, and unfortunately we have to scoot off. But before we do, I just want to make sure everyone has your information one more time. And again, to learn more about Ellie, you can go to her company's website, edgyexperiences.com. That's EJIexperiences.com. And the same with Facebook and Instagram. Edgy Experiences, EJI Experiences on both Facebook and Instagram. You can find her there as well. And if you'd like to learn more about Center Stage, you can find them at centerstagetheater.org. That's centerstagetheater.org. And to learn more about the Digital Arts Festival, just click on the blog tab on their homepage there, and it'll take you to the Digital Arts Festival page. Again, that's centerstagetheater.org, and click on the blog tab. And if you want to know what I'm up to, if you're curious about what I do, you can find me on Instagram and Facebook as well. It's Jim on the Air on both Facebook and Instagram, Jim on the Air. And you can also find my podcast on Spotify and Anchor.fm. It's also Jim on the Air as well. And Ellie, I want to thank you for joining us today. Thank you for taking time out of your day to be with us, and continued success with your company.
Thank you, Jim. I appreciate it so much.
It's my pleasure. And again, to learn more about Center Stage, and if you'd like to make a donation to Center Stage, you can do that as well on their website, centerstagetheater.org. Thank you, everybody, for watching and participating, and we'll catch you next time. Bye-bye, everybody.